welcome to HEK's Vinyl Life. I'm your host, Anthony K. And on this week's video, I have what'll probably be a much shorter video than I normally do. The main reason that it'll be a shorter video is because I've been having some problems with my teeth this past week or so. I've got an infection, and talking and generally moving my mouth has been rather painful the past week, so I try to avoid extended periods of using my mouth cavity. But I'm gonna get through it because I do like to drop an episode every week, and I like my episodes to run normally around 30 minutes to give you guys a nice detailed episode once a week for 30 minutes. Much longer than a lot of channels do, I know, but that's the way I do things here. So on this week's episode, I'm going to be doing some VCLT'S. I've received 3 VCLT'S in the past month that I'm very thankful for. So I'm going to be showing you what I got in these 3 separate VCLT'S. Plus, I'm going to be showing you, I think, 3 things I picked up on Discord purchases over the Christmas holidays. And one of them even way before the Christmas holidays. So I'm going to run through those as well. So let's get on with it. Let's not waste any time because my face hopefully will stand up for some of this. I tell you, people, tooth pain, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It is torture. But thank God for, Tylenol number 3. Okay, on with it. So I did do some Discogs things over the Christmas holidays, Christmas being the season. I bought myself a couple of things on Discogs, and the third thing I'm going to show you has a little bit of a story to it, and not a good story. It's actually a warning I'm going to be giving you people. And the very first one I'm going to show is Lita Ford and her Lita album. That's right, Lita Ford and her Lita album, which I believe was from 1987. If I'm going to take a guess, 1988. That was pretty close. Lita Ford. This is her Lita album from 1988. I picked this one up on Discard. Really good seller. He shipped it out of Ottawa. It got here in only a couple of days. Really good seller. Really happy. Reasonable price. Happy to have this in my collection. I had this on CD, but always wanted a vinyl copy. And this is probably, I think this is probably one of the best hair metal albums to come out of the 80s. And it's Lita Ford, female rocker, female shredder. Of course, her fame came from being a member of the Runaways. And this album is spectacular. And it was really nice to get a really nice minty copy of this album with all the liner, everything intact, still in the original shrink wrap, which is really nice. So, I mean, the cover is basically near mint. The vinyl's near mint. Really, really, I doubt whoever had this originally played it very much because the record is in absolutely pristine condition. And it even still has the original store when they used to use those crayon markers on record covers here to put the price. So this record looks like it originally sold for $12.49 in the record store, and it's actually got a date on the back here of June 6, 1988, written on also in marker on the back of the shrink wrap. So very interesting. Lita Ford. Lita with the fantastic singles on it. Back to the Cave. But the real shine on this album, for those that don't know, is Close My Eyes Forever, which was a duet with Ozzy Osbourne and worth the price of the album alone. Lita Ford, Lita. First up in the pile. Really happy with that. Next one I picked up, also off Discogs. Also really happy with this one. Also fast shipping, and this one shipped out of Vancouver. And I got it in less than a week also. Shipped out of Vancouver, and it is Sugarloaf and their debut album. A little bit of Psych from the late 60s, and the cover, as you can see, is not in bad condition. I would give it a strong VG++. Certainly the inner gatefold is, mint. It's gorgeous inner gatefold, not a scratch on it. Cover's a little bit worn, but not bad at all. And I've been looking for this album for a long time. It is not easy to find, and certainly to find one in this fantastic of condition. On the original Canadian Liberty label. I believe it's a Canadian Liberty label. Yep. Canadian Liberty label. Sugarloaf, their debut LP, and the vinyl on this, if you can see, is absolutely mint. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous vinyl. You don't find this very often on recordings this old. So really happy to get this in my collection. Really reasonably priced. and good shipping rates and fast service. Great Discogs seller. Sugarloaf, self-titled, and of course the big song on here was Green Eyed Lady, which I have on a 7-inch single. Of course, the short 7-inch single version. So nice to have that full, long version of Green Eyed Lady. A fantastic album, fantastic psych. Highly recommend it. Check it out. Sugarloaf. Great Discogs purchase. And now, those two I had purchased over the Christmas holidays, and they shipped here very fast. Got them like the first week of January. Well, next up, this is the last Discogs one I'm going to show you, because I don't buy a lot of things on Discogs. I do have the odd thing that sometimes you only can find it on Discogs. All these things I'm showing you, almost impossible to find here in Toronto when I've gone looking. And of course, now with us being in lockdown for the last couple of months, and for the foreseeable future, no record shopping at all. So you're kind of forced to do online or Discogs or whatnot. But this one, the third one I'm going to show you, has a little bit of a story and a little bit of a warning. And I don't care. You know, I'm making this warning. I'm calling this seller out because it was absolutely shameful, his business practice. And I debated whether I was going to say anything, but I think it's worth saying. A little warning out there for you people when shopping on Discogs. I'm normally pretty thorough when I buy from Discogs sellers. I always check their rating. I check the comments. And I didn't see anything until later when I looked deeper that, you know, would scare me off from purchasing from this guy, because most of his recent purchases at the time when I made this, people had bought from him were all very happy. So I purchased this album from him, and I got it for a really good price, reasonable shipping rate, really good price. He was in New York State, just over the border, like literally an 8-hour drive from me, just over the border. I'm in Ontario, New York State, just south of me, just over the border. This guy was shipping from. It was a sealed mint, original OG pressing, so that's why I jumped on it. I've been avoiding shopping out of Canada on Discogs for the past year because of the pandemic and slow mail and this and that. But I could not find this anywhere in Canada. And this guy was just over the border in New York State, so I said, yeah, I'll take a chance. Why not? So I purchased this, and he shipped it out a few days later. And then 2 weeks after that, now this goes back to the 1st of November, the 1st of November. He shipped it out on the 1st of November, and it showed up. Now I'm just over the border, like just south of me. You know, I could drive to this guy's place probably in 8 hours or less. He shipped it all the way to California, Los Angeles. I don't know why it was sent to Los Angeles. I don't know why the U.S. Postal Service sent it to California when it's just going north over the border. At any rate, 2 weeks later, because he did supply me a tracking number, it shows up in Los Angeles and then sits there for about a week with no tracking, nothing happening. So, you know, I believe that if you're polite and nice to Discogs sellers, they will be in turn polite and nice to you back. That's normally the way I think things would work. So I'm always very respectful, very polite in emails and correspondence with Discogs buyers and sellers. So I messaged the fellow and I said, you know, I just saw the tracking that, you know, a week ago, the album you sent out to me appeared in Los Angeles, which is on the other side of the country. Could you please check into it for me and let me know what's going on? And that's where I left it. He didn't bother replying. Okay, fine. Didn't bother replying. So then another couple of weeks goes by, and we're into like the end of the first week of December now, about 5, almost 6 weeks after he'd shipped it out. And it shows up in Vancouver, Canada, on the other side of the country from me. So it'd gone from LA, it had taken, you know, about 3 weeks to go from LA to Vancouver, Canada. So I'm like, okay. And then it sits in Vancouver, Canada. So I wait about another week after it shows up in Vancouver, and nothing happens. It just, tracking stops. So I messaged the fellow again. I go, hey, hi, you know, I messaged you a few weeks ago, but you never replied. This is what's going on with the package. Could you please check into it? Can you please provide me any information, as it's been, you know, over 6 weeks now, and I haven't received my package. Could you please, you know, check with the Postal Service, find out what's going on? Thank you very much. What did I get back from the seller? I get a rude reply, basically saying, not my fault, not my problem, have a nice day, you're blocked. You're blocked. Can you believe this? He then proceeds to put a review on my Discogs saying I'm a terrible seller. I can't control the postal service. Blocked. Wow, blocking me for just asking me where my package is, politely asking me where my package is, you block me. Not very professional, not very professional. He then, so obviously I give him a review. So fine, you're gonna block me and give me a bad review for simply asking where my package is? Fine, I'll put a bad review. Put a review on his thing. Don't shop from this guy. He's very rude, have not received my package, no explanation, not looking into it, does not want to help me whatsoever. Poor customer service, I basically said. Poor customer service, gave him a thumbs down. He then emails me after I give him the comment, and I wouldn't have given him the comment if he hadn't done what he'd done to me. It just snowballed. So he then emails me, goes, when you get your package, please return it to me and pay the shipping. Are you kidding me right now? So that was the end of that. So 2 months later, in January here, in just about the first week, at the end of the first week of January, guess what shows up? It finally arrives in the mail. Over 2 months after it had been sent. Yet, when you check the tracking, it still shows it sitting since the beginning of December. It's still sitting in Vancouver. So way to go, U.S. Postal Service. Way to go, Canada Post Service. You know, I never did blame this guy in the first place as to what had happened with the package. I simply asked him if he could look into it, let me know what's going on, which was apparently too much for him. And all I got was rudeness and disrespect back. So, no, I'm not going to be sending your record back to you. You never refunded my money. Why would I send a record back that I waited 2 months for? At any rate, it finally showed up. And for those of you out there, I'll put the warning out. The Discogs seller's name is Superior Elevation. So Superior Elevation, if you're watching this, you know, thanks for being a really poor customer service representative, really poor service to your customers. I won't be buying from you again. In fact, I probably won't buy anymore or ship to the United States anymore. I'm just, the postal service in the last few months has been a disaster in Canada and the US. And I'm just going to stick to buying Canadian from now on, buying from Canadian sellers, shipping to Canadian people, buying from Canadian people. This cross-border stuff, until this pandemic is over, it's just not worth the hassle and stress. At any rate, I received this. That's my warning. I received this and my rant. But I received this. This is Ruby Star, the third in her library, Smoky Places. Really happy to finally have this. And it is in, like I said, at least the seller's description was correct. It is in mint condition. It was a sealed mint copy of this album, never opened, on the red and gold, orange and gold capital label. Smoky Places. Ruby Star, who originally was in Black Oak, Arkansas. Happy to finally have that. And that's it for my Discogs story. Next up is VCLT time. And I have 3 separate VCLTs here to show, and I'm going to get right on with them. The first is from my good friend, David Michael, Naz Nomad, and he blew me away at Christmas. He sent me a little Christmas package and present that absolutely blew my mind. I was not expecting what he sent me, and thank you so much, Naz. You are a good friend and one of the nicest people I've met out of joining the VC, and he and I have become such good friends. And what he did for Christmas for me, just it touched my heart big time. And he sent me a number of things. When I opened this box, I was just floored. The first thing was something I knew was coming. Was the only thing I knew was coming in the box from Naz. And as people that have watched my videos know, that on Record Store Day, Black Friday, my #1 want on that list was the Jazz Dispensary's Orange Sunset album. Every Black Friday for the last 5 years, Jazz Dispensary have released a funk and soul and jazz album every Black Friday, and I've been collecting them all and had them all up to date. But unfortunately this year I wasn't able to score a copy, and I looked all over and just couldn't find one. And it was my #1 want. And Naz Nomad found a copy for me, and he's like, Anthony, do you want this? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, please, thank you very much. And he got it for me. Thank you, David, for picking this up for me. So I did finally get my #1 want from Black Black Friday Record Store Day, and that is the Jazz Dispensary Orange Sunset compilation, funk, soul, jazz compilation. This series is fantastic. I haven't had a chance to spin any of this VCLT yet, as I'm still catching up on my December and January purchases, but all these things are going to be played very soon. Orange Sunset, Jazz Dispensary, fantastic comp album. Now for the VCLTs that I got from Naz Nomad that just absolutely astonished me. It was a real mixed bag of things. The first thing was this wonderful Genesis Lamb Lies Down on Broadway North American Tour 1974 t-shirt that he sent me, which I have worn in a previous video. So that just wonderful to have that. Thank you, Naz. Thank you so much. Wonderful to have that. Next up is a tour program from an artist that both Naz Nomad and myself like a lot and follow, and I get a lot of fun poked at me by the vinyl community for liking this artist, but we like who we like. Music is subjective. I say this all the time. I don't criticize anybody or make fun of anybody's musical tastes, and I expect the same back. But some people feel that it's necessary to poke fun. I love my pop. I love my pop divas, my pop artists. I don't care how old you are. Music is music. Music has no age limit, people. And no minimum age, no maximum age. Music is music. So Naz sent me something that is very special indeed in this VCLT, and it is the Britney Spears Circus Tour program from 2009, which I will cherish for sure. This is a gorgeous tour program from her 2009, one of her most famous tours, the Circus Tour, an absolutely gorgeous program that he'd picked up at the tour. So, you know, him giving up this program was really, really generous, and thank you. I will save this with all my other fabulous tour programs that I have. It is a real treat to have that real collectible item there. Britney Spears Circus Tour program. The next thing that was in this little box of VCLT from Naz Nomad was this thing here that apparently he'd got on Record Store Day in Edmonton. It was something they were giving away as a free promo to the first, I guess, few customers that shopped at his local store or something. I don't know the whole story. But the story behind this is a caricature that was done of the famous Canadian band Max Webster. And all you Canadians will know who Max Webster is. Famous Canadian band fronted by Kim Mitchell, who is a solo artist now. And this is number 15 of 100 caricatures done of the Max Webster band and signed, as you can see, by the members of Max Webster. Only 100 of these things were released or given out or whatever, signed by the members of Max Webster. Really happy to have this. Thank you so much, David Michael. A real treasure for my collection for sure. And last but not least, 3 pieces of VCLT vinyl from Naz Nomad that I'm really looking forward to spinning, that I'm going to finally get around to spinning in the next day or so. As everybody knows that watches my channel, big Wendy James and Transvision Vamp fan, huge fan of Wendy James Transvision Vamp. And Naz Nomad sent me another Wendy James and Transvision Vamp goodie. He sent me one before. This is the 7-inch picture disc single version of Sister Moon, an original OG 7-inch picture disc version of Sister Moon with the flip sides Oh Yeah and Walk On By. Thank you very much, Naz, for that. Wonderful, wonderful. And I have spun this, and it's great. Sounds great, too. Really sounds great. Wonderful little picture disc, 7-inch single. Transvision Vamp, Sister Moon. Also, from Naz Nomad, next up here, an album that I've never seen in record stores here, ever. Ever. Never seen this album in record stores. So, really happy to have this. And this is Blue Oyster Cult, Imaginos. Blue Oyster Cult Imaginos, which I believe was from the late 80s. Yeah, 1988. Blue Oyster Cult Imaginos, and this is an original OG pressing on Columbia of Imaginos, which I'm looking forward to hearing. I've never seen this record in record stores here, so slowly filling in the holes in my Blue Oyster Cult library. Not too many holes left to fill now. There's only a couple more things I need from Blue Oyster Cult to complete my collection on vinyl. So Blue Oyster Cult Imaginos, thank you very much, and it's minty fresh. Look at that cover, minty fresh. The vinyl looks mint, pristine. Thank you, Naz Nomad, for that wonderful VCLT. And the last thing that was in this VCLT package was this, which is also very special, and I can't believe, thank you very much. I know he picked this up in the UK on one of his trips to the UK, one of his last trips to the UK, and he's parting with this and passing it over my way. Another Britney Spears item, and this is I'm Not Yet a Girl, I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. 4 different mixes of the song, and this is a UK promo 12-inch single, which I did show on another video recently. I believe it was on my vinyl tag video. I briefly showed this, so I won't spend too much time, but this was the last of the VCLTs in that box from Naz Nomad. Thank you so much, Naz Nomad, for those wonderful VCLT items, the t-shirt, the autographs, the tour book, you know, 3 different records, and thank you for getting me that Record Store Day title as well. Naz Nomad, wonderful guy. Check out his channel. I'll put the link to his channel in the comments down below, so check out Naz Nomad's channel and follow him. He's a wonderful guy and a good friend. And I have 2 more pieces of VCLT to show, and then that's it for the day. But before I do that, if you don't already subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up always make everybody feel good. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And comments always welcome down below. I love to get comments from you guys, and I always try to reply to every single comment I get. And don't forget to turn that notification bell on so you don't miss one of my videos. And last but not least, you can follow me on Instagram, where I try to post my spin of the day every day. And my Instagram is @AGK_lifetime of vinyl. And that's it. That's the shameless channel advertising out of the way once again. And back to the final 2 VCLTs of my video. And the first one came from Pat, the Vinyl Archivist. And a lot of people in the vinyl community know who he is. But for those of you who don't, I'll put a link to his channel in the comments down below. This came from Pat, the Vinyl Archivist. And I'll just open this box up and take these things out of here. And what the story with these ones is, a lot of people will be aware there was a charity auction in December put on by another channel, VC channel, a controversial auction that was put on. So I'm not going to go into details about that, but there was a charity auction that was done. It did have a little bit of controversy, but in the end, everything all worked out in the end, and it's all good now. But on that auction, I did donate half a dozen albums from my collection that were auctioned off, and I sent them off to the various people who bid on them. And in turn, I bid on a few albums myself. And 3 of those albums I bid on were ones that Pat, the Vinyl Archivist, showed that I won the bids on. And really happy to have them. They arrived, and they're all comp albums. They're all 60s psych comp albums. And I love comp albums. I especially love comp albums that are of not so well known artists, like the Brown Acid series. I love the Brown Acid series, fantastic series. So I had to jump on these when Pat showed them. And the first one is called Electric Sugar Cube Flashbacks, and it looks like it's all punk, garage punk, rock from the late 60s. Electric Sugar Cube Flashbacks Volume 1. I don't recognize any of the artists on here, but I'm looking forward to spinning this a lot. I'm sure it's going to be great. Sounds good from what I read on the liner notes. Electric Sugar Cube Flashbacks. The second one that I won from that auction was Electric Sugar Cube Flashbacks Volume 3. So another volume of Electric Cube. That's a tongue teaser. Electric Sugar Cube Flashbacks. Another volume of that. Looking forward to spinning that. And the last one that I got was a double LP called Psychedelic Dream by various artists. Psychedelic Dream. Looking forward to spinning this one as well. And this is a 2 LP, and this one was actually on a fairly famous label. This was on Columbia Records. These other 2, I believe, were on a more obscure label. I don't know the label. I can't see it offhand here, but they were on a much more obscure label. And this one features a little bit more. It has some artists I've never heard of before, but there are big artists on here like the Byrds, Spirit, Grace Slick, Kaleidoscope, the Peanut Butter Conspiracy, John Kay from Steppenwolf fame, John Kay and the Sparrow, the Hollies. So a few artists that I do recognize and plenty that I don't. A double LP. Looking forward to spinning this. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, tooth pain, I don't wish it on anyone. The last thing in the package from Pat the Vinyl Archivist was this one right here that I have looked for high and low in Ontario, and most record stores haven't even heard of these guys. They are talked a lot about by Pat and Ron Beaudry and other people on channels. And Pat was very nice to send me this VCLT. Thank you very much, Pat. And this is the debut album from Captain Beyond. Thank you very much, Pat, for this wonderful album on Capricorn Records. Capricorn Records. Captain Beyond. I haven't had a chance to spin any of this stuff yet, but I am going to do so very soon. Thank you, Pat. Captain Beyond. I'm going to finally hear what everybody's been talking about. Captain Beyond. Thank you, Pat, for that wonderful VCLT. And last up, my final box of goodies here. And this one came from Mr. Ron Beaudry, and I will put his channel in the comments down below. Ron Beaudry, an audiophile expert that knows a lot about stereo systems and equipment. And I've got to know very well over the last few months on live streams and whatnot. And he too was involved in the auction I was speaking of, and I picked up a couple things from him at the auction, and he too sent me a VCLT. So first up from the auction, John McLaughlin, electric guitarist, and this is a fabulous spin from the guitarist John McLaughlin, who I'm a fan of. And what's wonderful about this album is not only is John McLaughlin on here, and look at this, pristine pressing. The pressing's gorgeous. The cover is mint, you know, minty fresh. But what's really fabulous about this is the list of guest performers on this album. The main reason I jumped on it is because Carlos Santana is on this album, David Sanborn is on this album, Stanley Clarke, Chick Corea, Jack Bruce, David Sanborn, Billy Cobham, Jerry Goodman, Tony Smith, an all-star cast performing on this album. John McLaughlin, electric guitarist. Looking forward to that spin. Thank you very much, Mr. Ron Beaudry. And the second one I picked up at that auction from Ron, one to fill another hole in my collection. I'm a big fan of the Ventures. I have a lot of Ventures albums, and Ron had one that I jumped on, and thank you very much, Ron, for this one. And this is The Horse by the Ventures, filling in another hole in my Ventures collection. And this is actually on an original Canadian, this is original OG Canadian pressing of The Horse by the Ventures. And once again, in gorgeous, gorgeous condition. Ron Beaudry, when he sends out albums, they're always pristine. Pristine cover, album looks mint, and filling in a hole in my Ventures collection. The Horse. And last up on today's show, last but not least, a VCLT from Ron Beaudry. Thank you, Ron, for this. Very blown away to get this. And thank you very, very much. Ron sent me this as a VCLT. Blue Oyster Cult Secret Treaties. I just showed a VCLT from Blue Oyster Cult by Naz Nomad. Ron Beaudry sent me this gorgeous OG pressing with the textured cover and everything of Secret Treaties. Has the original inner liner. Secret Treaties by Blue Oyster Cult. I believe their third album in their collection, if I'm not mistaken, with the fantastic Dominance and Submission on this album. So really happy. This fills in another hole, a very, very, very hard album to find here in Toronto. This fills in another hole in my Blue Oyster Cult library, and there's only a couple more that I need to complete my Blue Oyster Cult vinyl collection. Thank you, Ron, for this VCLT. That's it. That's all. That's all I had for today. Just a bunch of thank yous and to show you what I got in VCLTs and Discogs lately. And I'll see you all guys all in my next video. Until then, everybody, stay safe and rock and roll.